Have you ever stopped right before taking a bite of something and just thought, is this actually safe to eat? It's a simple question, but it's one we should probably ask more often, because when it comes to food, the quality is every bit as important as the quantity. So let's get right into it and look at the systems that are actually in place to protect our food.
Here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll talk about the real dangers that could be hiding in your food. Then, we'll get into why perfectly good food can turn bad. After that, we'll explore the system of quality control that acts as our safety net. And finally, we'll look at the actual laws that give this whole system its muscle.
All right, first things first, let's tackle the problem head-on. It's so easy to just assume that the food we buy is perfectly fine, but what are the dangers that might be lurking on our plates, and what makes them a real concern?
Really think about that for a second. We see the ingredients list, sure, but do you really know the full story? Where that food has been, who handled it, and how it was treated before it ever got to you?
And, there's a very good reason to ask these questions. Because the stakes are incredibly high. This isn't just about a meal that tastes a little funky. We're talking about food that can be genuinely, seriously dangerous to your health.
And here's what that danger can look like. There's a direct line between bad food and getting really sick. We're talking about things like food poisoning, severe diarrhea, and all sorts of other nasty infections that can really do a number on you. These aren't just minor inconveniences, they're serious health risks.
Okay, so we've established that unsafe food is a real threat. But how does that happen? How does food that starts out perfectly fine end up going bad? Let's pull back the curtain and find the culprits.
And the tricky part is, the problem can pop up literally anywhere along the line. It could start with poor methods way back on the farm. It could be harmful chemicals getting used. Maybe it's stored improperly or handled in an unhygienic way at the market. See, every single step is a potential weak link in the chain.
I know. That sounds a little scary, doesn't it? But deep breath, because there's a system in place to prevent all that. Think of it as our shield, a whole framework of quality control designed to catch these problems before they ever reach your plate.
So the foundation of this whole system is something called food standards. These are basically the official rule books set by the government. They exist for three main reasons. One, to make sure food is safe. Two, to stop people from cheating by, say, mixing cheap or bad stuff in. And three, to give you the information you need to make good choices.
And one of the main ways these standards are applied is through a process called grading. It's pretty simple, really. It's just about sorting food into different categories based on things like its size, color, or freshness. It creates a consistent system so that you know exactly what you're getting for your money.
And this is a perfect example of what that looks like in the real world. You see, for rice, it might be graded by the size of the grain: ordinary, medium, superfine. For fruits and veggies, it's all about things like size, color, and how ripe they are. It's a straightforward system that just makes everything a lot clearer.
So how can you use this system to your advantage? Well, it's actually pretty easy. You just have to learn to look for the official marks of safety. Think of these logos as your quick glance guarantee that someone has checked this food for quality.
The first one to keep an eye out for is AGMARK. This one is specifically for agricultural products. So when you see this seal on things like grains, spices, or cooking oil, it's a sign that it meets the government standards, straight from the farm.
Next up, you've got the ISI mark. Now, if AGMARK is for the farm, think of ISI as being for the factory. You'll spot this on industrially processed foods, like canned goods or bottled drinks. It's your guarantee that the product met strict safety standards during manufacturing.
And then there's the big one, FSSAI. That stands for the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. This is the main government body that's pretty much in charge of everything related to food safety. Seeing an FSSAI license number on a package is a really important sign that the company is registered and following the rules. But all these standards and fancy logos don't mean much without some real teeth behind them, right? And that's where our final section comes in, the laws that serve as the ultimate rulebook for keeping our food safe. The mission of these laws is pretty straightforward. They regulate the entire process from growing and making the food to selling it. They're there to stop shady practices like adulteration. And most importantly, they're designed to protect everyone in the chain, from the farmer all the way to you.
And the absolute cornerstone of this whole legal framework, the one law that pulls it all together, is the Food Safety and Standards Act from 2006. This is the single most important piece of legislation governing food safety in India.
So what does this act actually do? Well, you can think of it in four parts. Its number one job is to make sure food is safe for everyone.
It achieves this by setting clear scientific standards, by controlling the whole manufacturing and storage process, and by promoting good hygiene across the entire industry.
So look, if there's one thing you walk away with today, it's this. There is a whole system of standards, quality marks, and laws all working together. The entire thing is designed to be a protective chain that stretches all the way from the farm right to your dinner plate.
And now that you know how this system works, a lot of the power is actually in your hands. So I'll leave you with this question. The next time you're at the grocery store, what are you going to look for? Are you going to check for those marks of safety? Will you be a more informed and ultimately a safer consumer?